Hello, YouTubers and all those wrapping to watch. Hope you're all doing quite well. Now, as a disclaimer for this video, this is not a video saying people should not be upset about the situation, but rather than saying it's a brand new, fresh thing, they should look at the perspective of yesteryear. That's generally what this whole video is about. So, okay, let's roll straight into it, because I'm not going to say too much on the matter, because it's more of a point out than anything else. So, alright, first things first. Back in the yesteryear, everyone knows MS-DOS, at least people who had PC gaming underneath their belt. Now, people who are vague with PC gaming but did know a couple games such as Doom or whatever else were quite aware that they were put out on the MS-DOS day, especially games such as Wolfenstein 3D and or Commander Keen. And the list will go on, of course. This is just, a list that hits a skyscraper. It wasn't until more later on that demos of video games began to get more larger, so it was a little bit more trickier to fit said games on, floppy disks and all that. So what happened was, obviously, game companies started to give demo copies to websites or magazine tabloids such as PC Gamer or whatever else. And of course, this was a sample of those said games. Now, if I'm not mistaken, console side of things, such as the PlayStation, were at least more notable, at least in my memory right now. I mean, there's probably other samplers out there for these said games, but of course my brain's probably just escaping the fuse here. But game magazines such as Xbox and PlayStation got demo discs. Now you're asking, where the hell is this going, Daniel? Well, I'm just giving you sort of an example of our diagram of how this distribution was handled. But let's go back to the PC side of things, back to MS-DOS. Now, MS-DOS gave us episodes in bundles, and of course you bought what you wanted. Now, this doesn't necessarily excuse today's standard, where today's medium, or today's media, is, of course, handled where there's so much mass media we could just obtain. It's uncanny. So you're asking yourself, okay, I'm paying $60 up front now, or at least in this case, they're charging like $14.99 up front, a realistic price. So why am I getting charged for pieces of a game when I should have it whole? Well, I'm not here to say that these companies, or these AAA companies, should have any excuses with this product. They should have it a full package for you to have nowadays. But when it comes to the demand of said product, I think they're, at least this is just my psycho theory here, is they're trying to give it to you in a bundle where it gives them enough time to give you a bundle, make some money, put it back into the project, keep doing that, make money. Obviously, there's no, they're just completely putting it into the project. No, obviously they're making fucking money. It'd be silly to think otherwise. But no, they're basically taking money, putting a little bit of it into the project again to keep it flowing, keep the workers happy. Polishing? Who said polishing? Anyway, they're putting money into the project, putting money in their pocket, keeping the projects going, putting the advertisements out, paying all the advertisers, all that crap, and then they're flowing it into the said Steam market, or the PlayStation or the PSN market, or the Xbox Live market. Now, with that bared in mind, does this completely excuse anything I've just mentioned? Yes, no, and maybe. Why? Because let's look at it like this. Back in the day when distribution was handled, now, I of course don't really give a shit too much. This is not a daunting matter, because sure, they strip half the shit that should be in the game that's already made and finished out of the game and make us pay more for it. I don't think that's right. I agree with everyone there. At the same time, there's certain games like Resident Evil, Revelations 2, and all that, those type of games, which are like Tattletale games, which obviously have a very clever market underneath their sleeve, and people are very obviously very willing to buy these said games at a premium. Though I've seen people buy these packs, or these DLC kits, or whatever the hell they are, these brain fart from hell. I'm trying to bring myself back from it. It's pretty dangerous, though. It fell right next to a sandworm there. I'm trying not to go near that sandworm. But anyway, basically, these expansion packs, they pretty much say, here, you can pay a premium of $60, you can have every single one of these. Or or sorry, is it 50 or 60? Doesn't matter. You'll probably figure out the digits yourself. Or they say, here's $14.99. Here's a small taste of the game. If you like it, you can keep going. If you like it, you can keep going. You can like it, you keep going. This is the exact same execution that they had for the MS-DOS games, where they gave you a bundle of games for about $30 to $40, which is obviously the price conversion is completely different from yesteryear to today. And you were able to obtain these said games and play them to your heart's content. The same thing with Jazz the Jackrabbit, which was a fantastic game, might I add. Jazz Jackrabbit 2 wasn't so great, but it was alright. But other than that, you guys get my picture here. You get the perspective, you get the format here. This is exactly how they're executing things. Yes, at the same time, it's pretty slimy when they charge you so much for a chunk of this, that, and the other thing when it comes to AAA titles that are humongous, like, you know, freaking, they charge you $60 for an incomplete product. They give you, like, bits and particles and pieces and all that, and that I don't agree with at all. I completely agree that they should give you everything that's already into that said $60 price tag, because again, that's pretty steep. But what can you do other than simply not buy it and screw over the company that's doing it, which most people are, which, you know, all the power to you. You're doing the right thing in your mind to said company that's, of course, screwing you out of a couple bits of product, which is like a little golden gun or some crap like that. I mean, if this golden gun really bothers you that much, then all power to you. I don't personally always go out of my way to have to buy every piece of that game. But either way, I digress. That's, of course, the theory or the chaos theory behind that. Other than that, this is not anything new that has happened. This is definitely has happened, before in gaming. People were acting like this episodic thing is completely new, and I'm kind of laughing my ass off about it. It really isn't. Tattletale Games is simply pulling back from the drape of the Wizard of DOS, you know. He's practically pulled out that curtain and says, hey, look, this was an idea, let's use this for our market. And then so the Tattletale Games did this, and all the other companies are like, ooh, you know, and they're all grabbing that idea and taking it, putting it in their products, or people just simply stripping down their products, which of course is kind of shitty and silly, but what can you do? Don't buy the product. Anyway, I digress. What do you guys think about it? I personally think that when it comes to certain games, like some of these Tattletale games or some of the other ones, I can kind of wait for it. I mean, $14.99 isn't a horrible price. You do get a good, decent chunk of game anyway. But they usually do have like a decent price tag, like $50, or you can wait, you know, get periodically get all these other bits of the game, which are, you know, pretty decently chunked, and they give you a nice pace. I mean, just like with the new King's Quest game coming out, you could pay a premium, or you could wait for pieces of it. I mean, it's either way. I mean, it's there's some options there, and you get them as they come out, so that way you get the full product or a good chunk of the full product, and you wait periodically. Anyway, take it easy.